Shalom, shalom, Shabbat Adonai. Welcome to the Sixth Exodus program. Thank you for listening. This segment here today is called The Ten Commandments Made Simple. I want to make some comments before I start to elaborate on the Ten Commandments. I want to say to you that first I want to apologize to the world, to leaders in the world, to people in the world, and I take full responsibility for what has happened in the past because I am alive and I know who I am. I want to say to you, I apologize for my forefathers, for their sins and their negligence, because God gave my forefathers the responsibility of teaching the world their laws. Now, the reason why the earth does not have laws as God has intended to be is because my forefathers have all been punished for not keeping the laws. They have been slaves in every captivity. And even today, we are in captivity. So we are not able to teach the world their laws. But I am alive. And I promise you that when we return to Israel, you watch us and you first need to be taught. You need to see. Now, I tell you, there are reasons why my forefathers were slaves and why they was punished for not keeping God's laws. It's because it was our responsibility to live that the world may know how to serve God. But we have been slaves from Egypt in every captivity. Egyptian captivity, Babylon, Syria, Persian, Greek, Roman, and even here in America, we have been slaves in every captivity for not keeping the plan that God wants to be kept, to teach the world His ordinance and to obey His laws. But I am a descendant of my forefathers. Many of us, many of us are alive, and we are spread abroad the earth. This day, God has scattered us, and our enemies have scattered us. But I promise you today, and I've said these words to my Father, is not to punish the earth or to destroy the earth or His people, because they have not learned the law. You have to first teach people the laws before you destroy them or tell them why they have not kept the laws. Now, it's my responsibility to tell you and to teach you the laws. Now, I want to say to you, my forefathers were taught the laws as they received them from Moses. And for many years, sporadically, they did very well keeping the laws. And then we had generations that did not keep the laws. They abandoned God's laws and they sought after liberty and freedom and they chose other gods to worship. They made gods and worshiped them with their own hands. And they loved liberty and lawlessness more than they love God's laws. But I am a descendant of my forefathers and I love God's laws. Personally, I think men ought to be governed by laws. Now, as for me, I think this is the path for enlightenment, to be enlightened, for the whole earth to become enlightened, to have no crime, to all be enlightened beings, and that the world and the civilization that we live in now will change. But that cannot happen until we are enlightened by God or to keep His laws. Then we will be like Him. We will become enlightened. You cannot become enlightened by worshiping idols or stones or trees or sin any such thing because it is God who has made us. Now, God has made the whole earth, the whole heavens, all the heavens. That means the stars, the moon, all the galaxies, all the planets, everything that is in the sky, that hangs in the sky, God made. Also, everything upon the earth. That means the ground that you walk on, the ground that you see, the dirt that you see every day, the dirt that comes upon your body that you wash off every day. God made. He made all of you. Every person that have breath, He made. All the birds, He made. Birds that fly, birds that cannot fly. He made all creepy things, all things that creeps upon the face of the earth. He made all things that have breath. God made all rocks, all trees, all mountains, everything that you see, including yourself, God made. Now, in the beginning, God said these words. He said, I set before you good and evil. Choose you this day whom you will serve. He said these words in the very beginning. Now, most of you chose not to serve God's laws because my descendants have been in slavery. They haven't had the chance to teach God's people the laws of God or the blessings of God and how to be able to live in God's ways and be blessed and love God and His laws. You have not heard. So you have worshiped idols and made things because it is in you to worship because God has made you. But you have worshiped other things in searching of God. Well, I am here to teach you because God has made me to do such a thing. That's why I am telling you these things this day. So I want to say to you that God made things in geometric patterns. Everything that we look upon, we can look at it from different perspectives. Now, I see things different from my forefathers, how they saw things. Now, there are 10 commandments. I want to tell you about these commandments. And when we, black people, which are called black people, that are in America, in the countries that God has scattered us, when we all go back to Israel, I want you to see how we keep the laws and you learn from us. I also we want you to send, when we get to Israel and establish Israel, I want you to send 2 representatives from each country, and they will live among us as citizens. We will set up buildings for them to live in, and they will eat. It's my desire for them to stay there, if they can, 50 years. In every 5 years, they will go back to their home country and teach the people what he have learned. The 2 people that you send, make them scribes, mean they're able to write down what they see every day while they are with us in Jerusalem, and how the priests worship God, and they will be able to go to the temple of God every day, and they will be able to eat and drink and live and be among us. They will be able to go to our people homes and eat. They will be able to interact in the community, go to football games. Um, they will have a courtyard to play badminton or basketball or whatever activity they like, free time to write and to travel back and forth to their countries, that you may learn, as I have learned, to love God's laws. And I think the whole world will benefit and be able to achieve enlightenment. So we will learn these commandments together. Now I will read to you 6 laws, and then I will read to you 4 laws. I call these laws the 6 and 4 laws. Now, my forefathers, they started from the top and they went down. But I see it from the bottom going up. And I will tell you how I see it and how the world will walk in these laws. Now, as I said, there are 10 laws, but I've divided the laws into 4 and 6, or 6 and 4. 6 laws pertain to your neighbor, and 4 laws pertain to God. So, from my perspective, you cannot love someone unless you know them. You must first know them and understand them, spend time with them, see them and understand them, and then you can love them. So, first, now I was saying that many of you, maybe you will say, oh, I can do all the 6 laws at one time. Well, that's great, but give the other people a chance to catch up. So, let's begin. The first law, or starting from the bottom, the 10th law is, you should not covet your neighbor's house. You should not covet. Now, covet means want or desire your neighbor's wife, or his male or his female servants, or his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Okay, that's the 10th law. And I will read the laws and then I will go back and make comments. I don't want to make this segment too long. Already it's 14 minutes, but I will make it no more than 30 minutes, okay? So be patient with me, and I will try to um, hasten my comments. And the ninth law is you should not give false testimony against your neighbor. That means you should not lie on people who live next to you, or lie or say things about them. The eighth law, you should not steal. Do not steal. Do not take things that do not belong to you. The seventh, you should not commit adultery. That means if you are married, do not have sex with another woman, or do not have sex unless you are married. The sixth, do not murder. Do not murder. Do not kill. Personally, I believe that this means all things because God made all things. So why should you take them away? Now, I will say this to you. As far as this commandment, wait, I will not speak now. I will go back later and make comments. The next one is to honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land the Lord thy God giveth you. Now, that means, well, I won't comment. I will read them first. So as you can see, these laws are not so difficult. The next law, which started to pertain to God, I read to you 6 laws, okay? So are you comfortable with those laws? Do not covet your neighbor's house. You should not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male, or his servant, or his ox, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. I mean, do not want any material things that your neighbors have. Any material things your neighbors have, do not desire it. If you see your neighbor who has a nice car, do not want their car. If you desire a car, then God will bless you with a car. If you depend on Him, wait and depend on God, He will bless you with a car. But do not want His car. And do not want your neighbor's wife. Now, if your wife, when you marry her in her youth, she had beautiful face, nice beautiful locks in her hair, and her face was beautiful and round, her body very shapely, very pleasant, very comfortable to touch, smells very beautiful, and you delight in her. This is what God has made to be a pleasure unto a man, and vice versa. For a woman to see a man and to think he is handsome and desire him, both of you will desire each other. This is the beauty of God, and it's wonderful. But you should not want another person. Why should you give your blessings to a stranger? Love your wife. This is the one that God has made for you. Love her. So, if your wife has gained weight and she is not as beautiful or not as sexy as she was when you married her, encourage her. Take her out. Exercise with her. You exercise together, walk together, be together. You are one, as God is one. Both masculine and feminine, being together as one, loving each other. This is what God desires from us. That we should not want another man's wife or his house or anything that belongs to him or someone else. We should not desire it. No. Do not give false testimony against your neighbor. That means do not lie on your neighbors. Do not gossip about your neighbors or anyone else. People get gossip. Oh man. People love to hear gossip and they love to gossip. So don't give false testimonies against your neighbor. It's okay to talk, but don't lie about your neighbors. Don't say things that is not true to stir up rumors. Do not steal. Most people steal because they desire things that their neighbors have, or they feel like they are not blessed and they will take and steal from someone else. And so do not steal. And do not steal to feed yourself. For God feeds to everyone, even the birds of the air. All creepy things, God feed them. So man should know that God feeds them every day. Do not commit adultery. Now, some of some people I know they have different sex drives. That means some people like to have sex more than others. Before you commit an act of marriage, you need to make sure that when you marry a partner that have the same desires you have. If you marry someone who does not enjoy sex or enjoy um, the lifestyle that you like, you have to be compatible with the person you marry. If you marry a person, let me say this: marry someone that is compatible with you and have the same strength as you. Now, if you have a strong sex drive and you like to have sex 3 times a day, you cannot marry someone who is weak and cannot have the strength or the stamina to do that. They will become tired and then you will become angry and they don't have the stamina or the strength to have sex 3 times a day. So you need to marry someone stronger or someone with more weight. A person that weighs 50 grams or 90 pounds do not have the stamina to be able to have sex 3 times a day. Okay, you will wear them out. It's called role overload or stress overload. You will overload that person, and that person cannot bear that type of performance. So you need to think about who you marry, and maybe you don't need to marry for beauty. You need to marry someone with strength. Okay, so do not commit adultery. Think about the things I've said to you. Do not murder. Do not hate someone so bad that you want to kill them or you want something that they have that you want to eliminate their life because God gives life. Now, let me tell you, there are a lot of people who like to hunt and like to kill animals. I don't think it's fair because God made all animals and he made an ecosystem. And in this ecosystem that God made is perfect within itself. However, we do need foods to eat as far as now. A lot of people like to eat meats. I personally am a vegetable person. I like to eat more vegetables and fish. But all animals have life. I believe there's a certain respect we should have for all life. And if we choose to eat meats, then those meats that we eat should come with respect, and we should acknowledge the meats that we eat, that we have taken the life of another being that God has made, because God has given us many plants and vegetables to eat. Now you say, well, they have life. It's true, plants do have life. So let me say again, respect what you're eating. So that's why eating is so important. And so when you kill life to eat life, you take the life of another being. It's very special. So do not kill a human. And I think a person who kills life for other people should be held in high regards, because that person who works in a slaughterhouse or that kills animals for us to eat, I think that person should be held in high regards because they take life for our consumption and for our health and for our longevity. Okay, now the four laws that pertain to God are these, starting from the bottom. If you can keep the six laws all at once, you're doing very well. However, for those people who are yet struggling with the 10th law, to not to want material things from their neighbors, they have to catch up. So we will begin these things all at one time. And when we go back to Israel, we will tell you these things again, what I'm telling you today. Now, the fourth law, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the Sabbath day is the Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male or female servants, nor your animals, or any foreigners residing in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all that is within them. But he rested on the Sabbath day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Now, the Sabbath day is Friday sunset until Saturday sunset. I want to tell you something. Well, I will come back and make comments. Let me finish, okay? Reading the four laws that pertain to God. The next one is, you shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not hold anyone guiltless who has misused his name. That means do not say the name of God irresponsibly or just blotting out the name of God. Like people like to say, oh my God. Do not say that. In Chinese, they say, oh, wanna tian. So do not say these words, these things. You know, it's not good. It's misusing the name of God. And another one, the next law that pertains to God is, you shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in the heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of their parents to the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. Okay, and the last one, which is the first one, is, you shall have no other gods before me. Okay, now let us go back and start the four laws again, and I will make comments to them. The Sabbath day, okay, these are four laws that pertain to God. The Sabbath day starts on Friday sunset until Saturday sunset. As you know, more crimes are done in the world between Friday sunset until Saturday sunset. Now, if you would keep God's laws on the Sabbath and observe the Sabbath day. That meaning do not work, do not labor. God gave you 6 days to do everything or anything that you need to do concerning labor. Now he wants you to stop working and rest and have communion with him. That means to let God come and be with you and dwell with you in your home. Now your home should be a sanctuary for God to dwell in, to come and visit you. Now God can appear in any shape, in any form, at any time. And God desires to dwell amongst his people. But you cannot contaminate God eating certain foods. God can see through our bodies. He knows abomination of foods that we eat. And he cannot dwell amongst us because he is holy. He's a holy being. So you cannot eat abomination of foods and expect God to dwell among you. You cannot. God is God. Although you don't know much about him, you must learn him to respect him and honor him. So that's the problem that's in the world. You don't know him. You don't respect him. And you don't honor him. So you cannot love or respect anyone you don't know. So if you keep the Sabbath day, that means the lifestyle that you're living now, working every day, being greedy, you cannot make a lot of money or in 2 days. Look, you or most people, you're not going to ever have enough money. Most of you will never say, okay, I've had enough money. I don't want to work anymore. Many of you will work yourself until you're sick and you will die and still want to work. Many of you will work every day and don't even have a job. You will go to your job and you're off that day, but you will still go to work. You love working so much that you will go to work subconsciously. You will get up on a Sunday, a day you do not have to work, and you will go to work. Your wife will say, baby, where are you going? You say, I'm going to work. And she say, today is Sunday. It's not a work day. You say, oh, okay. And some of you do not even like being at home and you go to work. So I'm not getting on you, okay? I'm just saying how important it is to keep the Sabbath day. And these are the last 4 laws. And do not misuse the name of the Lord your God. The Lord will not hold anyone guiltless who misuse his name. So use the name of God with respect and honor. His name, respect God. He is your creator. So respect him. These are things he's asking you to do. Well, he's telling you not to do them. It's not an ask. He's not suggesting. These are not suggestions. These are commandments. And then God says, do not make for yourself any image. Okay? That means statues. And the whole world, as of today, are worshiping idols. Everyone is guilty. Everyone has turned from worshiping God and worship idols. Let me tell you the idols that people are worshiping today. They're worshiping the thing called Jesus. It is an idol. It is a picture. It's not a person. It is a picture of a man, a painting of a man in the 1500s by Michelangelo. Okay. The other idol I want to tell you that you're worshiping is the cross. We do not know anything about a cross, but people have made images of it and they wear it about their necks. They have made it out of stones, wood, gold, silver, bronze, They have made these idols and they hang them in their house. Now you have a God, and no one can paint his picture. You cannot make a picture, draw a picture of the Most High. You cannot. No one has. But you have made images and you worship them. Now, there are people who are called Buddhists. They made their idols. They made them out of stone. They made them out of brass, bronze. They have every kind of idol, as the people who call themselves Christians have made idols. They have stone idols. They have images. They even put them in their places where they worship their idols. They have built buildings, monuments to worship idols. All the people have. They have made idols all over the world. And they have made these beautiful buildings to worship their idols in. Also, the people who call themselves Muslims have made their idols and they go to Mecca to worship their idol. And they travel there and they make it a great pilgrimage to go to one city to worship their idols. And they make these idols themselves with their own hand. And they create their own prophets and they made them for themselves to worship. For God is a spirit, and those that worship him will worship him in spirit and in truth. Also, they have made these great pilgrimages and these great marches, and to appear to man as being holy, but they are not holy. They are ignorant and full of abominations. So, the whole world is worshiping idols. Those are the main idols in the world that people are worshiping. And the Jewish people, they have their idols they have made with their own hands. They have a star that they worship. They say it's the Star of David, but David does not have a star. God made all stars. And the Jewish people also worship their ancestors by going to their graves and bringing their graves out and putting them on the ground and worshiping them. Yeah, I know all your secrets, all of you. In the ancestry worship of the Chinese and the Japanese, they worship their ancestors. Ancestry worship. And you worship pictures. Many of your countries have worship pictures. Many people, like Mexicans, they have pictures of the Lady of Guadalupe all inside their cars. They have them hanging from their rearview mirrors. They have them in their homes. They worship all these idols. And they're not real people at all. But they made them images. And the Catholic Church have given them these images to worship. And they worship them. When God says to you, do not worship these images, yet you do them. It's a pity. And then the last one, he says, Lord says, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of slavery. You shall have no gods before me. Now, if you love God, you will not make any of idols. You will not misuse his name. You will keep the Sabbath day. You will honor your mother and your father. You will not murder. You will not commit adultery. You will not steal. And you will not give false testimony against your neighbor. And you will not covet your neighbor's house or his material things, or his children, or his ox, or his wife, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Okay, this is the Ten Commandments made simple. Okay, start from the bottom and work your way up just like a building. Okay, do not try to build these things from the top and work down. You need to have a foundation. That's what the Ten Commandments is. It is a foundation. Your foundation is to start at the bottom. Okay, start at the bottom by you should not covet your neighbor's house. You should not covet your neighbor's wife. That means want her or desire her. Start from the bottom and then build on it and go all the way up to the top. And you can see how wonderful and how beautiful it is to keep God's laws. It is a beautiful thing. Okay, this ends this segment on Ten Commandments made simple. God bless you, and I hope I haven't made a burdensome task upon you. It's my objectives and my emphasis is on how to accept the Ten Commandments and love them as I do. And my forefathers did not love them, at least the judgments that came upon them. And while we are here in slavery now, we have been in slavery here. I'm in America, and so the the slavery that we have been for us here in America, most of us don't know that we are children of God. We are Hebrews, and we have a responsibility. We are priests of God, but we have forgotten who we are. Most of us don't know who we are. So we are being punished even today. And it's a pity because they don't know. But God is going to take us back to Israel. And many of us will be ashamed because we have forgotten our God and we live the life of luxury and fame and fortune. And we have traded our God's laws for lust of fame and fortune and money and greediness. And we have forgotten our God's laws and our responsibility as priests of God because we are the family of God and we are the only family that God has on earth. And He expects us to minister unto Him every day. Now, it's my responsibility to do those things, and I take responsibility for it. But you need to be taught. Everyone in the world needs to be taught. The Jewish people who are there today are not Jews, so they cannot teach you, nor will they take responsibility to teaching you, because they are greedy and they are corrupt. They do not keep the Lord's Sabbath. They do not keep the Lord's laws, none of them. So the Jewish people are pretending to be us. Um, I feel sorry for them because of their pretense. They're pretending to be us, and God's wrath will be poured upon them for even pretending to be us and lying and not even keeping the laws of God. Because when you do not tell people the truth about God's laws, God's going to hold them responsible. So they will be held responsible for not teaching the truth and not teaching the world and leading the world astray. The laws of God are very important, and I want the nations of the world to be saved, and God wants them to be saved. But you have to understand that in every civilization we have been in slavery, so we have not taught you, and it's my fault, and I'm the blame. So I want you to love the laws of God as I do, that you might achieve enlightenment. Okay, God bless you. I'm going to end this segment now. I pray for you and I wish you well. Thank you for listening.